Hey everybody, welcome to Gaming Golf 2022. Jeff Erickson here with Jeff Ritter and Scott Jenstad. Excited for another season. We got the tournament of champions out at Kapulua. So let's just jump right into it, guys. Happy New Year. How you doing?
Great, man. Happy New Year to you as well. All is well here in Texas.
Yeah, Happy New Year back at you guys here too. Everything all good here. I'm looking forward to talking golf and looking forward to golf being back on. It was a good, nice little 2-month break after the Ryder Cup, but it's fun to be back.
Absolutely, and I'm looking forward to playing more and watching more and playing more DFS. I'm ready to jump right into it here, so I'm excited. So let's talk about it. We got the tournament of champions. I believe there are 39 golfers. Rory decided not to play. So very small field, no cut field, no water on the course. Len Hochberg tweeted that one out. You can see water on every hole, but there is none on the course itself. So should be nice, low scores.
Yeah, and it's the only par 73 on tour. Soft, very receptive, slowish greens, huge greens. It's just kind of a quirky, different sort of place from what pros normally would face week to week on tour. It's the mellow start to their season, just as it's the mellow start to a new year. So I always like this one right where it is on the calendar. There was a time there where they were reshuffling events where there was kind of rumor of the PGA Tour might shift this thing around or make it put it in a different week. I really like it as the first week of the year, first week of a new tour season. So, and I'm looking forward to just kicking back and watching the guys in Maui. Should be fun.
It is weirdly one of my favorite non-major tournaments. I think it's a combination. Golf back. I've played the course, which makes it fun, and I usually don't love Birdie Fest, but this is just one that is just fun. Like a guys hit the ball 9 miles on the 18th hole, and there's just a lot of cool spots. You had that DJ drive last year. You almost hold the par
that
four
was awesome.
on his drive, like an unbelievable shot. You just get a lot of cool stuff. Not only that, you got golf at night. Like it's really cool that on Sunday night, Saturday night, you have golf at night because they had the time difference and all that. And Sunday night's a great sports night. We have Broncos Raiders are playing football. Clay Thompson's coming back on Sunday night too, and we got the golf tournament. It's going to be a good night to have 2 or 3 TVs going. So I'm fired up for it. I'm looking forward to it.
What did you think about the place when you played it?
I played it a long time ago. I probably played it like 20 years ago, but I love the course. We just played in the afternoon. It was super windy. So there were balls that like you could hit the ball a ton if there's a behind you, or you could hit the ball a ton and it goes nowhere with the wind. And they had the high brush on the side. And like I just felt like every ball I hit, the wind would pick it up and throw it and that stuff. But you kind of feel like you're in Jurassic Park on some of the holes. There's a par 3 where you drive through on your cart, like through these trees. You're like, where am I going? And all of a sudden you pull through. It's just the par 3 that has like, nothing in between, just the green and all the trees in between. It's an awesome course. It's really cool. I think Jeff, you played there too, right?
I played the Plantation course once and played with these 3 guys from Australia, but they weren't like your fun, hey, let's have fun loving Australian guys. They were very serious, and I was kind of hurried. Like Kim dropped me off to go somewhere with the girls, so I just had to rent clubs. I didn't even get a chance to get really on the putting green. So I just rolled one ball on the first green. And they're like, mate, you're not allowed to do that. I'm like, okay, I understand.
Was one of them
paying a lot of money for this round?
Was one of them Cameron Smith?
No, it was not. These were older gentlemen.
I was hoping for an insider tip there on how he played.
Yeah, I know, right? It was very windy early. It rained on the back 9 on me for a little bit. Get to 17 and 18, you got that beautiful down-sloping holes. Rainbow on top of us there. It was picturesque. It was beautiful. Nice. I was awful that day, but I had a lot of fun. It's still a gorgeous course, and I'd like another crack at it.
Yeah, I caught it on a day like you, Scott, where it's just windy and it's so wide. I can't believe you said Jurassic Park. That's what I've always told people is like, I think the movie was filmed in Hawaii also, right? Yeah. Jurassic Park, but it really feels like ridiculous. Like the elevation changes and the setting, and even though there's no water on the golf holes, you're just in this, like, you just don't even know where you are half the time. It just feels very disorienting. So yeah, it's such a but I same thing. The fairways are so wide, and yet when it's windy, like an average golfer like us, you're still getting blown off the course, even though it's like the widest fairways you've ever seen. You still can't hit them when the wind's blowing. It's a pretty wild place, but it was one of my favorite rounds I've had too. I'll always remember.
Yeah. And looking at this course, they always say, the key stat here, hold me back if you're shocked on this one here, but it's shots gained approach. Believe it or not, it's still the most important stat on every single course, it feels like. But hey, that's what we're looking at here to start off with, right?
Especially here because the fairways are so wide. Like mostly, I think
Yep.
it was 80% fairways hit last year in the tournament. Like, I mean, even guys who sprayed a little bit are gonna get a lot of balls in the fairway, and the rough's not overly punitive. So yeah, it's you gotta hit it. You gotta hit it close, and you gotta make a couple putts because you're gonna have to be 25 under to win the tournament.
Yeah, the greens are so huge. I mean, and quirky. You know, they're slower and different from what they're used to playing. So hitting it close, really, it's even more magnified this week beyond other weeks, I think.
Yeah, it is. So let's start breaking down the field here. As always, let's start off with the Fivedigit Crew. There's 5 golfers and a field of champions. There's still an elite tier. John Rahm, Colin Morikawa, JT, Bryson, and Victor Hovland at 11, 10-8, 10-6, 10-2, and 10,000 respectively. We'll start with you, Jeff. What jumps out from you in this group?
I mean, I wanted to just go right back to Colin Morikawa because when you start talking about the emphasis on approach shots, but I don't know. There's something about these early events in the year. Like this is where you can get ahead of the curve a little bit. I also, and this is something that I think it kind of works in any sport, is it's hard to bet on the guy coming off the career year, right? Your life has changed. Now you've had a break. Colin Morikawa has had a resettle now as this new place in life as the number 2 player in the world, a multi-major winner. Didn't have a great finish. You know, I believe when we last saw him, that was squandering the lead. He hasn't played since the Bahamas, right? That was
the Hero World Challenge. He blew the lead.
Yeah.
However, he won Dubai. I mean, so he's had the lead on Sunday and won in his last 2 tournaments. That's the way I kind of look at it.
It's hard.
And then in October, he had a 7th and a 2nd. Oh, I think his recent form is pretty damn good.
Well, yeah. So there's certainly a case to be made for him. I just went the other way. I just felt like too easy. New year, the guys have reset. And so I circled Justin Thomas off this group. I think Thomas had sort of a weird year last year where he started fast. Then he made the insensitive comments that got picked up and just sort of drifted for a while. I think he won the Players, right? And then it just sort of, he was like off and on throughout the year. But he's just a guy I think is in for a bounce back year. I think he's due to win a second major in his career. And I think this is a great year for that. And so he's a past winner at Kapulua too. So I just, he was my favorite off this tier. You can make a case for any of them.
Scott, what say you?
Yeah, a lot depends on how you build. I've played with a lot of lineups already this week, and you can get a lot of guys in this week. With a no-cut event and all guys who are obviously good players, like these guys in the 6s just aren't the same as a regular tournament. Like, I don't want to touch anyone under 7,300. There's good players down here in the 6s. So I found that you could go – I kind of like building – you can go 5 guys between like 8 and 10 and leave this top tier alone and then play 1 guy in the 6, or you can play 1 guy in this top tier – 4 guys 8 to 10, or 3 guys at 10, and 2 guys in the bottom. So I kind of like the balanced approach this week. The guy, I'm probably playing 4 or 5 guys in 8 to 10 rather than jumping up here. But some lineups I will, and for me it's Justin Thomas too. I agree with Jeff. You look at the last 3 years here: 3rd, a win, and a 3rd. He also won in 2017. He's the only guy who's won here twice. He was just 3rd in November in Mayakoba. He was 4th in the Tour Championship. Like, just the recent form is good as much as you can with the coming off breaks and. Just a really nice run of tee to green since like middle of summer last year. Jeff mentioned he kind of was up and down a little bit early, but like you look at the tee to green numbers, really good the last 6 months. It's him or Hovland for me. Hovland's been red hot right now. He won at Mayakoba. He won at Hero. Won his last 2 times out. Likely, I think he'll be really popular at 10 million. If I'm picking 1, it's JT. If I'm going 2, it's JT and Victor. But like Jeff said, it's hard to go wrong in this range.
Yeah, I don't think I'll pay for Rahm just because he hasn't played much.
He hadn't played in 3 months on tour since the Spanish Open.
Right. And Reed Fowler was tweeting this out earlier, and you should follow him on Twitter. He's another good golf guy. I think it was like 12 of the last 13 winners here all played in like events running up. They didn't take months off. They played either like Hero or they played Mayakoba. Although Mayakoba wasn't always here. But the point is, they played Australia. They played events leading up to this, and this year, Rahm and Bryson have been the least active of the 5 of those guys. So if I'm going to spend up, it's going to be on Colin. It's going to be JT or Hovland. I think Colin will probably be lesser rostered than JT and Hovland. Would you say that's accurate or inaccurate?
I think they'll all be owned, but I would say that's accurate.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to avoid anybody, really. I mean, having
Yes.
high rostership in any of these golfers.
Yes, such a small field. Everybody's gonna be pretty popular.
Yeah. Let's move to the next tier. The 9,000s. There's 3 golfers in this here. Usually there's more than that. One of them hasn't played in a while, and that's Patrick Cantlay. He hasn't played at all recently. Cantlay's at 97, Xander's at 95, and Sam Burns is at 91. Scott, we'll start with you this time. What jumps out?
Probably not gonna, be too dramatic here. I love Xander in this range. 9,500 feels underpriced to me. He's been a top 5 here the last 3 years. He's just ridiculous in small field, no cut events. He always plays well in those. He's gained a ton tee to green in all 3 times he's played here. Burns is red hot right now. 4 tournaments in October, November. He's 7th, 5th, 14th, and 1st. So playing really, really well. But I got to go Xander here. I think Xander's a really good shot to win this week.
I think totally agree. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, is this Burns' first time in Kapulua? Yeah, generally, it's not a bad play to fade first timers at this event because the course is so quirky. It's a new spot on their calendar.
It is his first time.
Yeah, so I like Burns a lot for the year 2022, but I'm not sure I like him this week. I would go Schauffele off this tier in a heartbeat. I think he's a great second guy you go with one off the top tier. You get JT and Schauffele. Those were my first 2 as I started building my roster. Those were my first 2 immediate, barely had to think about it moves to start my roster construction.
You guys aren't going to let me have Burns for $5 in the draft league again this year?
You're welcome to throw it out there.
Yeah. Why don't you could start him at 5. That could work.
Yeah. I'm afraid that's not going to work again.
We have our golf auction next Tuesday night, so really looking forward to
it. We should just do next week's pod. Should just be an auction preview.
Yeah, or push it back a day to do a review. But no,
for
the people
for all those golf auction leagues out there,
all of them. There should be more. It really should be. We've been doing this one for 20 years. That's the crazy thing. Let's move on to the 8,000s. There's a lot more in this tier. We got Jordan Spieth at 89, Hideki at 87. Brooks at 85, Berger at 84, Cam Smith at 83, Sungjae at 82, Answer, that's the Jeff Ritter guy, at 81, and Tony Finau at 8,000. Jeff, back to you. What do you like here?
New Year's resolution. I was going to try to go a whole show without bringing up Abraham Answer as an underrated, under the radar.
The vortex keeps pulling you in.
I know. Well, you're baiting me with this one now. It's just like. I actually picked Cameron Smith first off this tier.
Okay.
Another guy that I think is just it just feels like his career is simmering. And he's got a good track record in this event also. This is his 3rd time to Kapulua. So again, one of my little rules for this week was I was just going to scratch off first timers in this event. Smith's been there before, had a good end to the season. And I just think he's just on that list of guys that's done just about everything except start winning these huge events. And so not that Kapulua is huge, but you've got a very elite field. I think he shows up ready to play this week.
I love this range. I love pairing 3 of these guys with Xander, 3 of these guys with JT, and I love this range. My 3 here are Spieth at 8,900. You'll rarely hear me say that, but I think it's a perfect setup for Spieth. You don't have to worry about the drives going awry as much as normal. He can just kind of go for pins, and he doesn't have to worry about those blow holes. So I think it's a really good spot for him at a good price. I think he'll be. And we're talking about everybody's gonna be popular. I think Spieth at 8,900 will stick out to people a lot and be really popular. Like Jeff, I love Cam Smith. We want birdie makers at this course. You're going to have to shoot 20 under or better. He's 3rd in the field in birdie or better percentage opportunities gained. He's 1st in opportunities gained overall last 24 rounds. Just a guy that good birdies, can go low. He was 24th here last year, so didn't play well, but you look at him in October, November, 4th, 15th, and 9th, a really good run right now. And then, surprise nobody, Sungjae Im for sure will be in a lot of my lineups this week, 8,200. He's always putting with Sungjae. He's a better putter on Bermuda, which we have here. He's 9th in birdies gained last 24 rounds in this field, so another guy can make a lot of birdies go low. He was T5 here last year. I like the fact that he played here once, played well. I think I like Sungjae this week, not only DK, but also from a betting angle too.
New year, some things you can count on, as the calendar turns. And that is definitely Scott.
And luckily, Sungjae plays about 44 weeks a year, so I can talk about him.
Yeah, it's useful that way. Guys, I thought Finau seems underpriced at 8,000. Maybe it's just because of the strength of the field, but and he hasn't been super active at this in the last couple of months. But I think that's a pretty enticing price. And what am I missing here?
I don't think you're missing much. I mean, it's a really good price for a guy who's super talented. Like you said, didn't do a lot late in the season. I think he had a 45th, and a missed cut in November and October. So I'm leaning a little bit on recent form, but yeah, at 8,000, what's he, the 18th price guy or something for Tony Finau? That's solid. I just like the other three guys in this range a little more.
Okay, fair enough. Before we move on to the next tier, quick note from our Blue Wire sponsors. All right, we host all of RotoWire's podcasts on the Blue Wire network, so I always like to try to insert a little spot for them. So that's what we did just there. Thank you for tolerating that with us.
Can I ask you about one more guy in the 8,000s before we go?
Of course.
What do you guys think about Daniel Berger? He was unbelievably finished the year, but his last PGA tournament was in September, I think. Like, has not played at all. Do you think recent form's gone? Do you play him? I mean, 8,400 is a good price for him. What do you guys do with him? Because I was a little
Didn't
bit.
He play the Hero? I thought he played the Hero.
Did he play the Hero? Yeah, I guess that was in a PGA.
That was his one start.
Yeah.
He finished seventh there.
Yeah, so played well there. I mean, he's on fire. Just didn't play like very much in October, November at all.
Tempting. Yeah, tempting. It feels like the guys who haven't played much or at all, it's more of a dice roll, but that's a good price for Berger.
I mean, he was striping the ball. I mean, the last 8 events. I mean, his tee to green approach numbers are just out of this world.
It's so weird to look at this list and see that Brooks is one of the guys that's played the most among the golfers here. Not as much as Patrick Reed, of course, but because no one plays more than Reed except for maybe Sung J M. But
how did they get Brooks to play in that Houston Open? Like, that seemed like that was weird. He played in that tournament mid-November.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's trying to get back in.
Yeah. He sure dominated the match. That's for sure.
Yes, he did.
He did do that. Did you guys watch that?
I watched more than half of it. So I'd say yes.
It was a short match, but yeah.
So that's like 5 holes then, right? I really like the match. I prefer the 2-on-2 with like some celebrity athletes in there a little more. It's a little more in that format to me. It seems a little more fun than just the pure one-on-one, especially with two guys who really don't talk very much. Mickelson was probably the most fun part of the broadcast.
Mickelson's been the most fun of, I think, every single broadcast of the match at this point. Good for him. It probably solidified his PIP winnings that apparently he has himself reported that he's won.
I love he's reported that himself, and everybody's like, we haven't figured that out quite yet, but
yeah. I can't get worked up about the PIP at all. I mean, there's no standings. It's just a, hey, we're paying you a way to not go play in another circuit, which still might happen anyhow. He's been one of the vocal guys about wanting to still be able to have that flexibility to play other tournaments and circuits. But anyways, that's what makes
it fun, Jeff, is that there's no standings. It's just like this rumor that the PGA Tour didn't even necessarily want out there, but then it's out there. But then they don't really want to let you know who won. But Mickelson himself reports who won, and the criteria is murky and everything. It's just
it's amazing. Fun. It's amazing that Tiger Woods can win it without playing a tournament, right?
In golf media, it's a juicy topic because there's just so much unclear that it's a fun one.
It's just an under the table appearance fee, basically, is what it is. All right, let's move on to the 7,000s. Patrick Reed 79, Harry English 78, Kokrak 77, Taylor Gooch 76, Mark Leishman 75, Kevin Na 71, and Billy Horschel at 7,000. Scott, do you like this tier?
I don't. This is a tier I probably will not play very many guys in. I just think it's easy to get under 7,000 to get similar type players, and there's just a ton of guys over 8 that I like. If I do, it's Patrick Reed under 8,000 is always a good price. He has 2 seconds here and a win, so really good course history here. He's putted really well at this course. Didn't play well late last year, but with Reed, he's one of those guys. He has more win equity than most guys in this range. Like he can go win any tournament where even with the big names. Taylor Gooch is interesting. He won his last event, the RSM Classic in November. He's gained an approach in 5 straight, tee to green in 4 of 5. He also had a top 5 and an 11th in the swing season, so playing really well right now. If I had to find myself in a spot where I needed some of this range, it would be Reed or Gooch.
From Scott's lips to my mind, or something like that. It was Reed and Gooch for me off this tier. Reed plays everywhere. He's had great success at this event before, so he's going to show up in form and ready to grind it. Gooch, I don't know. I think he's a first timer in this event, right? He just got his first PGA Tour win, so I would scratch him off the list for this week. But he's a guy I like going forward again in 2022. I think he needs to be remarketed though. Like if I were Taylor Gooch, I think his DraftKings price would go up $300 if he just went by TK Gooch. I just think he needs that little branding help.
I think he should just be. I think I would just go by the Gooch.
Maybe, yeah.
The Gooch would be beautiful.
T Gooch, yeah, just a little twist there, and I think you're really onto something there if you're Taylor Gooch. But probably not this week. But I agree. Like for me, that it was Reed and Gooch were the most interesting guys off that tier.
For sure. Moving on to the 6,000s. Usually we eschew naming them, but it's a small enough tournament. I think we can go by name this time. So here we go. Siwoo Kim's at 69, Cameron Champ's at 68, Max Homa 67, Seamus Power 66, Mickelson 65, Garrick Higo is at 64, Brandon Gray 63, Cam Davis 62, Lucas Herbert, Eric Van Rooyen, and Joel Damon are all at 61. And then finishing out at 6,000, KH Lee, Lucas Glover, Matt Jones, Stuart Sink, and Kevin Kisner. Scott, I started with Scott last time. Jeff, we're going to go to you first. Who's your super sneaky sleeper from this group?
Because, it's a no-cut event. So, you want guys that can just kind of like hopefully make some putts and just hit it close. I actually kind of like Kevin Kisner from this tier, who's at $6,000. And I was trying to figure out when he played last. It's been a while, but it's not his first time at this event. He's played it multiple times. I also was sort of intrigued by Stuart Sink just to see what he's been up to lately as someone that what you're trying to look for, I think, off this tier is I'm trying to avoid the just happy to be there effect and try to find some guys that are ready to show up and, try to contend. And Kisner never takes, he never takes a round off. He does some courses set up better for him than others just by the strengths of his golf game. And I just think Sink, at being a savvy veteran, he's played out there a bunch as well. Those would be my favorites. I wouldn't take them both, but like Scott said, if you're building off the middle tier, maybe you need one budget-friendly addition to the roster. I lean those two guys.
Scott, what say you?
Got a couple of guys I really like in this range. And in this range, I'm looking for either guys who are playing well lately or guys that can make a ton of birdies. So my first guy is Seamus Power, kind of in the current form spot, 6,600. He played 5 tournaments. He was really active in October, November. He finished 4th, had 1 miscut, 11th, 12th, and 21st. So that's like 4 out of 5 in the top 25, 3 out of 5 in the top 12. Playing really good golf right now. Got some good tee to green numbers. That one Houston Open didn't play well, but other than that, really good numbers the last 5 tournaments he played. 6,600 is a good price for him. I think he can make some birdies and get there. My other guy is 6,100 is Joel Damon, a guy. You talk about making birdies. He's 7th in this field in birdies gained over the last 24 rounds. He's you look at the top 8 guys in birdies gained in this field, and 6 of them are guys over 9,000. So it's all the studs. The other one is Cam Smith, who's 8,300. And then you have Joel Damon at 6,100. A guy that making a ton of birdies lately, playing well lately. He's made 6 straight cuts. He's finished 5th in November in Houston. I think 6,100 is way too low for Damon. He's the guy that I'm going to slide in there when I never need to fit somebody in. If I want to play 2 guys over 10,000, it's going to be Damon at 6,100. Love the price. I actually think a couple bucks betting on him at 100 to 1 is a pretty good spot too. It's tough for him to win this field, but a couple bucks at that price is worthwhile. But 6,100, someone's going to be in a ton of my lineups. My third guy here, if I want to get a little spicy, I think Garrick Higo kind of lines up well for this course. He hits the ball far, did really well on the European Tour last year, and actually had the win at Palmetto that I think we bet on. I don't know if it was on the podcast, but I don't know if we did one for that. But I know that was a winning ticket here. So he'd be my third guy here, but I really like Power and Damon a lot in this range.
Yeah, those are interesting. No, neither of you endorsed Phil, Mr. PIP himself.
Well, that would go against my just happy to be there, criteria. And he announced that he's playing this event because he won the PIP, which has not been confirmed and officially.
Yeah, that's true.
Said, but he's out there and he's playing.
Well, he's going to play to win, right?
I hope they mic him, but yeah. I don't know. I would not put him on.
He will not be taking any safe plays. He will be going for birdies and eagles. You know that. But yeah, I see you on that. I would
not tie myself financially to Phil this week, although I do look forward to some entertainment value from him. That's about as far as I could go.
I just want to also make sure that Kapulua has some safe ball markers on the tee boxes there for Van Rooyen, so he doesn't hurt anybody, caddies or competitors or himself. But besides that, I think we should all be good there. Let's move on to a gaming perspective. Let's look at the odds here for this tournament and take a look here. Let's go, Jeff. You go first here. What sort of odds do you like here?
Well, I mean, I said at the top, Justin Thomas was my favorite off the elite tier. I don't really like picking golfers that are less than 10-1, even in a limited field. I just, I don't know. I want to hit a bigger ticket. So I started with Schauffele, though. 12-1 is at least outside my threshold. I think he's a great pick this week. I think it's time for him to start winning some big events, and it could very well start this week at a golf course that sets up well for him. I really like Patrick Reed at 30-1. That feels like, those are longer odds than you're probably going to get for him. Or those feels like the odds you might get from him at a full field, major week. Now we're at a limited field event. His odds haven't really come down with it. I like that a lot. I still like Cam Smith, 25-1. I'd like to see him at 30-1. I feel like that he should be in that same tier as Reed. And
I think he's trending in the opposite direction.
Yeah,
at least
the market
I'm looking at BetMGM, and it's at 20-1 now.
The market is catching up to that. Has he cut his hair? Or is he still doing the mullet?
Don't have an answer.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Yeah,
I saw a video with him where he was like showing off his house or his like facility, and he still had the mullet.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Okay,
good.
so Samson didn't cut his hair. Okay, that's good.
And I guess the other one I really liked. I missed Joel Damon's, the trend lines with him, but Scott talked me into that at 100-1. I like taking a flyer this week too, because it's a limited field, and if nothing else, just getting one of those guys in contention on Sunday is fun for a relatively small ticket. So I'm on Joel Damon now. I didn't expect that, but I like that.
Make some birdies, Joel. It's perfect.
Yeah.
All right, Scott. How about you?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's one of those feels like, obviously, as Jeff mentioned, we got some guys at the top who, if you bet them, you pretty much can't bet anybody else because they're just such low numbers. So I think what I'm going to do is stick in the mid range. I'm going to bet Cam Smith. He's 22-1, the number I'm seeing right now, at least I'm looking at DraftKings. I'm going to bet Spieth at 22-1. I'm going to bet Sung Jae at 22-1. So I'm going to play three guys in the middle. I think Xander's probably the best bet at 12-1, but I want to play multiple guys. So it'll be Smith, Spieth, and Sung Jae for me. Then down the ticket, a couple late darts. I'll bet Seamus Power at 70-1, and definitely Joel Damon for a couple bucks at 100-1. I think that'll probably end up being my bet ticket in the smaller field.
FanDuel's got a bet on top five. Patrick Reed's at 49-1. I think I like that a little bit because even if he doesn't win, I think he's going to be there. He's going to be contending. He's going to be that thorn that nobody wants to win, and he'll be hanging around. So I like that one a little bit there as well.
I assume you mean 4.9-1.
Yes, I do mean 4.9-1. 490. Yes, that's right. Yes, that would be.
Otherwise, I'm moving to Tennessee and going to bet that right now.
Right. Yeah. Sorry, reading comprehension fail for the win or the loss, as it may be there. But
I didn't know if it was some sort of like boosted special bet they were doing or something like that.
No, it's just my being a non-expert and trying to opine where I should stay in my lane and just be the host guy instead of trying to actually offer up a bet. Okay. One and done. We're not starting our pool this week, but some people are. Who are you going with in one and done?
Yeah, I hadn't thought about it because our pool is still a week away, right? Are we starting it next week? Do we need to have a conference lens into this to see where this?
We either start it this week or even next week or even the week after, if I recall correctly. I think it is Sony that we started with though. But just assume arguendo, you have to pick one this week because there's probably some poor fools that have week 18 championship games in football and tournament of champions for one and done. There's some interesting game theory. Do you use up like Xander here, or do you hold off and try to go with a little bit of a longer shot? How do you handle this?
Yeah, limited field. I probably will hold up. I would hold off Xander, JT. Rahm and Morikawa, Rahm off a layoff. I wouldn't use him here at all. I'd be inclined maybe to go with Patrick Reed this week. Mid-tier guy. I think he's going to show up and play. I don't see myself picking him in a major. So I might be inclined to go Reed right out of the gate, week one.
Scott?
Yeah, I just checked, by the way. Ours starts with Sony, the one that all three of us are in, and some of the bigger ones that we might. I don't know if any of you guys are in. I don't know if you guys are in the one and done, the GUP contest or the.
I think you said you're going to get me into that this year.
I definitely will. It's a great contest. I think it's $50, and there's a ton of people, and it's really well run. It's fun. They pay out majors or different segments and all that. So if anybody is out there, it's actually called Carbon Contest right now. So I'll give them a quick plug because they run a really Josh over there runs a really good and fun contest across all sports. But the one and done is kind of where it started. Strategy wise, I want to pick someone that I think can win, but not an elite player. Like just off the layoff, I don't really want a guy that I want to burn someone. So I'm between Spieth and Cameron Smith. I think I'm going to go Cameron Smith if I had to pick one this week. It'd probably be my pick. So kind of a second tier guy that I think can win, but not really leads. I think is kind of a good strategy to go with exactly what Jeff had with the Patrick Reed thing. Kind of someone in that middle that you want to have a chance to win, but I don't want to burn a top guy quite yet.
I think we're all kind of going off the same playbook here because I was going to say Cam Smith, and then I was looking at Finau otherwise. So just to be different, I'll go Finau. But that'll be my Finau answer for this podcast, and probably end the podcast as we know it too. You guys will be hosting by yourselves after that one. But anyways,
hey, Finau won last year. He's here. It's all right.
He's in Kapulua as a winner.
Yeah. So it was more for the pun's sake, but anything else. But anyways, I could have gone Finau or answer, and then I really could have been silly about it. But all right. Let's end this now. But big thanks to you guys for listening. Thanks for jumping on and joining us. We'll be back at you again next week with the full field tournament. Any parting thoughts, guys?
It's good to be back. It's this one goes down with a Mai Tai for those just thinking what to make at home. I recommend going with a Hawaiian themed drink while you watch the tour in Hawaii. Good comment.
While you listen to this podcast, although we should have said that at the beginning too.
Do we have ukulele music we could pipe in, like for the edited version?
I'll get our crack staff on it.
Right.
Nope, sorry, too late.
Erickson plays the ukulele on the side, so that would work well.
It's like the Office episode. Ukulele and falsetto. Yeah, we could do
Parting thoughts. The only thing I want to bring up for next week, I'd like us each to come up with a couple of majors future bets too. So maybe some futures on the Masters, the U.S. Open, that sort of thing. It'd be a good thing. Because a lot of people are betting those right now. You get some good odds on stuff. So if you guys have any thoughts next week on Masters, U.S. Open winners, it'd be a fun thing to do too, to drop in there at the end.
Homework assignment. I love it.
There you go.
All right, there you go. All right, that's going to end Gaming Golf for this week. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Good luck in your gaming exercises. Take care.